Hey guys, Wilson here for my second video of the weekend. This one's going to be on Steppenwolf and early biker movies which lead up to Easy Rider, which is the movie, of course, that had those Steppenwolf songs that made them so popular. Well, actually, the first two Steppenwolf albums were released in '68 before Easy Rider, but they seem to really get popular after '69, after the Easy Rider album. So, anyways, I'm going to use. Well, I'll show you this first. This is the first album from '68 on Mobile Fidelity. Sounds good. I don't think I've ever heard the mono versions of these albums. They're not on here, are they? No, I guess not. I don't even know if there is a dedicated mono mix to this record, but anyways, in the minds of many, this is still the best Steppenwolf album because it contains the big hits that they're known for, or that they were initially known for. Sookie Sookie is an old Don Covey kind of R&B soul number. Barry Rides Again is just an amalgamation of various Chuck Berry tunes. Hoochie Coochie Man is, of course, the Muddy Waters number. Willie Dixon. Born to Be Wild is Mars Bonfire. He wrote that. He wasn't even in the band anymore. He was in the band when they were called the Sparrow. I'll get into that in a second. The Pusher is a Hoyt Axton number, kind of like an anti-drug tune. Again, that's one of their greatest ever songs. John Kay has nothing to do with the writing of these big numbers. And then, the rest of the album's pretty good. The Ostrich was a number that they had for a while. I'm going to say this is probably their best album. All right? Now, before I forget with these posters and all, this Doors poster has been visible in my videos for quite some time. I don't think I've ever moved it. I don't know if you can see it. You might have to make it bigger, but it's the Doors and the Sparrow. This is from '67. It's at the Avalon Ballroom. The Sparrow was the name of Steppenwolf before they changed, to Steppenwolf. John Kay is originally from Germany. He came, to Canada, not being able to really speak hardly any English. He's legally blind. That's why he's always wearing those prescription sunglasses. This is his book, his autobiography. You can order it from his website. He will sign it for you. He goes into detail about how he feels about most all of the music on these albums here. So if I remember, I'll tell you, if something sticks out to me. I know he doesn't care for the second album that much, and I like the second album. So what I'm going to be using here, mostly for this Steppenwolf video, is this Magic Carpet Ride little box set of all the albums through For Ladies Only in '71, right? So it's a nice little set that, they're all in stereo. And there's bonus tracks and a nice little booklet. Sound is pretty good. It's not that expensive. I don't believe it's out of print. It just came out in 2021, Cherry Red Records. So pick it up if you're interested. It's better than just having like a standard greatest hits or something like that. So let's get to the second album here. This is the CD that comes in. That's a cool picture of him on the back. That's the CD that comes in the box set. Let's pull out the second one here. This is the second album. Also came out in '68, Steppenwolf the Second. This is a pretty good one too. Like I said, John doesn't care for it. It's always hard for me to read, so I'm going to look at the booklet for the titles. Okay, so Faster Than the Speed of Life is another Mars Bonfire song. I like it. I'll just do the ones that stand out to me. Tighten Up Your Wig is a John song that's kind of, has an African-American vibe to it. Don't Step on the Grass, Sam, is another good John song. 28, Gabriel Meckler wrote that one. Magic Carpet Ride is one of the great, songs that Kay wrote. He wrote it with another band member though, and on this booklet it just says John Kay. unless I'm wrong about that. Anyways, so that's one of their great psychedelic tunes. And then there's other good stuff here too. Resurrection, Reflections. So also it came out in '68. Steppenwolf were one of any number of bands who released two albums, their first two albums in that year, along with the Steve Miller Band and Blue Cheer, and I thought of 5 one time, Iron Butterfly, and some more I'm not going to be able to think of. Anyway, so if '67 was a great year for debut albums with Hendrix and the Doors, so was '68. So anyways, that's their first two. Then you have in 1969, At Your Birthday Party. All right. This one's got Rock Me, which Kay wrote by himself. It's their last big hit, top 10 hit. Otherwise, again, you can't see the song titles. Otherwise, the album is also pretty good. One can make a statement that the first 3 albums, well, I'm not going to say the first 3 albums are their best, because I like Monster, and I like number 7 too. So I'm going to say, those are the best 5 Steppenwolf albums. Don't Cry, Chicken Wolf is pretty good. Jupiter Child, Rock Me Again, and that's probably it. But it's solid, and they were cranking them out though. If they had 2 albums in '68, they did 3 albums in '69, which I'll talk about now. With this one, you might even not want to count though. This is Steppenwolf when they were the Sparrow. This was recorded in '67 at the Matrix in San Francisco. They had a brief, tenure in San Francisco, just like, of course, they were stationed here in LA for a lot of the time. I can't even see the song titles, but, well, I guess I can. Power Play is a number that they had earlier in their career, which they would later record for one of the albums that I'm going to be discussing in a second. Karina, Tighten Up Your Wig, that they did that one again. And then a long version of The Pusher, the Hoyt accent. Mars Bonfire was in the band at this point. So this is the Sparrow, and this is, this poster. The one behind me, might as well just talk about that one. Let's look at that one for a sec. All right. That is, of course, this is a Bill Graham poster. This is a poster for several dates. Steppenwolf were on the bill, as you can see. The Grateful Dead, Santana. Santana used that poster, which is a Lee Conklin poster, as the basis for their first album, the first LP cover. So that's what the poster looked like. Moving on, their third album for '69 and their second album of new material was Monster. This album gets mixed reviews from Steppenwolf fans, or maybe the fans like it, but rock critics don't. Monster itself is a long tune. I'm gonna look at the songs on this booklet, but I like it. It's sometimes John can have like a hectoring, kind of a preachy tone to his lyrics, and I'm not gonna say it begins on this album, but it really starts to come to fruition here. But I do like the Monster song. He wrote that with Jerry Edmonton. Otherwise, they're all pretty good. Suicide, America, Power Play. He did that early number from the previous live album on this one. Move Over, Fag. I don't know why he named a song that. What Would You Do If I Did That to You, and From Here to There eventually. This was the first one not to have a top 10 hit, but it had, like the song Monster charted. And I think, Move Over was another one that was released as a single. So anyways, unless that was the B-side. Anyways, so I like it. But if you're not a Steppenwolf fan, tread lightly. Try try a few more before you try that one. Moving on into, oh, you know what? Before I leave the 60s behind, let's talk about Mars Bonfire. He has an album. He did an album, I don't know when it was released, 68, I'm going to say, which you can't really get on CD, but most of the tracks are on this. This is Faster Than the Speed of Life, which is his second album, but not really, because Faster Than the Speed of Life is just comprised of a lot of the songs that were on the Mars Bonfire album, with some new songs substituting for some of the songs that they took out. You know, Faster Than the Speed of Life, I just told you, was on the second Steppenwolf album. His version of Born to Be Wild. Tenderness, is that a song that Steppenwolf did? Ride With Me, Baby, yeah. In Christine's Arms. I see. Some of these songs, I think there's several cuts on here which Steppenwolf later recorded, but I don't remember exactly which ones they are. But the ones that I just told you, I think that they did record. It's okay. It's not. If they ever do his first album on CD anywhere, I might pick it up. But this has probably most of what you need. So, moving on to 1970. Here's the, in my estimation, rather generic Steppenwolf Live. I know fans like this. It was a double album, and to make it a double album, this was entirely recorded, I think, in Santa Monica, you know, here in LA. They had to take a couple of tracks, or maybe three, I don't recall now, that were not live, just studio tracks, and then make them sound live by adding the noise. You do get Hey Lottie Mama on here, but it's not in the mix that they used, you know, for the 45. That's one of their big numbers, right? So if you think that the album is worth owning just for that alone, or you get one of their greatest hits albums, which will have the 45 mix, presumably, because on this album it's mixed along with something else. The Pusher, it's like two songs on one track. But you know, most of their famous songs are on here. So you know, live albums were all the rage in those days. Usually I big up live albums to you guys, but this is average, I think. Much better in 1970, redeeming the year for them, is Steppenwolf 7. This is the last one I can really get behind. This is a hard rockin' album. They were always a hard rock band, but all elements of psych are long since gone by this point. There are no hits. Let me see if I can read that. Ball Crusher's good. 40 Days and 40 Nights. Fat Jack. Foggy Metal Breakdown. Snowblind Friend. That's another Hoyt Axton, another anti-drug Hoyt Axton tune too, if memory serves. Who Needs You? You know, Hippo Stomp. This is a solid record, and if you've never heard it, I'd say this is like the sleeper in their catalog. You're probably not going to have heard any of these songs before you hear this album, so this will be the, you know, the surprise one, I think. And For Ladies Only is the last album from 71. Look at that phallic car. This is supposed to be like a feminist album, and yet they have stupid pictures like this in there. As if these guys could ever be feminists. Again, fans like it. I mean, I won't even bother going over the songs. It's pretty good, but they're running out of ideas by this point. And by 71, they had just been cranking out too many albums. You know, 2 in 68, 3 in 69, 2 in 1970, and finally they only do one album this year. Or is this 72? No, I think it is 71. All right? So, it's all right. I know that there's going to be people out there going, no, Wilson, that's a better album than you're giving it credit for. Okay. After that, after the band disbands for the first time, John Cale releases a couple solo albums. Neither one is truly outstanding. The first one, though, is the better one, obviously. Forgotten Songs and Unsung Heroes. And This Is My Sport in Life, which I don't have much to say because I don't think I've played that more than 2 or 3 times in my entire life. Forgotten Songs and Unsung Heroes is pretty good, though. He's eschewing the hard rock, you know, kind of vibe that he had probably felt that he had overdone with Steppenwolf, and he's going for more of a singer-songwriter kind of a vibe, which was, you know, all the rage in the 70s. What is this album? These albums are in 72 and 73. So, you know, he's still an artist. He's still producing music. He's still coming up with new material. Only, you know, these albums didn't sell. I mean, you know, and John is a macho guy. He wants to be big. He wants to have an audience. So he puts Steppenwolf. Oh, there's an earthquake right now. You guys hear it shaking or see the camera shaking? Still shaking a little bit. That's the pitfalls or the pleasures, what do you want to call it, of living in Los Angeles, folks. We have earthquakes. Okay, but as a true Los Angelino, as a true Southern Californian, we just shake it off. Okay, this is the epic years from 74 to 76. It is 3 rather pedestrian albums. John is barely writing by this time. He's just putting the band together to, you know, make a little money. Here's Slow Flux, in which this is probably the best of them, I'm going to say. I'm not going to even go over the songs. I mean, you know, they weren't hits or anything. Gang War Blues is kind of silly, but it also rocks. Straight Shooting Woman, I think that was a hit now that I'm looking at the titles. Not that I remember hearing it on the radio, though. But anyways, Slow Flux isn't bad. Hour of the Wolf has a cool cover, but it's not as good. By this point, he's barely writing anything. You know, I don't know, you know, why. I read his book. He was unhappy at the time, but whatever. Skullduggery, I don't believe if memory serves, he writes anything on this album. What's a Steppenwolf album without John Kay songs? You know? So anyways, that was it for the band just to be calling themselves Steppenwolf. When they got back together in the early 80s, it was John Kay and Steppenwolf. Don't own any of those albums. You know, I'm not such a fan that to pursue him into the 80s when he wasn't even that good at this point. All right? So, okay. Now, let's talk about Easy Rider. Guys, I'm just as much of a film buff as I am a music buff. I've thought about having like a film channel, but I've already started, you know, with the music, so I'm not gonna, you know, and plus I work full time. I don't have time to do all these videos, but this is my copy, the Criterion copy, America Lost and Found, the BBS story, Bert Schneider, and oh God, what's the main guy's name? Bert Schneider and Bob Rafelson. Wow, I should have thought that name first. Anyways, a lot of good movies in here. This is my version of Easy Rider, which is still the ultimate biker movie. It was directed by Dennis Hopper. It's got Peter Fonda in it. And it did not just spring out of nowhere. Of course, it had those Steppenwolf numbers, which were very popular. And when you watch the movie, I always like to crank up the whole soundtrack is good. I have the album too. But anyways, I once wrote a piece online on a website called Black Cat Bone, which is no longer in existence, so you can't look it up. It's called The Road to Easy Rider, where I highlighted just no more than a paragraph each probably of a bunch of films, not all of them biker films, which led up to Easy Rider, you know, and I'm going to discuss those briefly here. They're all like countercultural movies. Most of them involve actors who were in Easy Rider, but not all, as you're going to see. I'm going to start off with the Wild Angels. The Wild Angels is a Roger Corman film. It came out in 1966. It's got Peter Fonda, as you can see, as the head of the Hells Angels on here. Fonda, I don't know, I mean, contrary to what you might think, did not make many biker movies. I mean, there's only these 2. Later on, post Easy Rider, he'd make cameo appearances in movies on a motorcycle. But he made other countercultural films, which I'm going to be showing you in a second. But this kind of really kicked off the whole biker genre, exploitation film genre in this country. There had been biker films before this, going all the way back to Brando in the Laszlo Benedict, The Wild One in 1951. That's truly the first biker movie. But this is the one that really kicked it off, and it became a genre after this. All right. So that's the first film. In 1967, there's Dennis Hopper in The Glory Stompers. This is Dennis Hopper's biker movie. This is not on Blu-ray, to my knowledge. This is an old DVD. It's not bad. You know, it's not as good as The Wild Angels, but again, it's an early, because it came out in 67, it's an early example of the biker genre as it was developing. All right, and in this one, Dennis Hopper is the leader of a biker club whose name I don't remember. I don't think it's the Angels though. It might be. I don't know. Jack Nicholson, who was in Easy Rider. This is his biker movie which preceded Easy Rider. I like this one. This is Hell's Angels on Wheels. You also got Adam Rourke, who's in a lot of biker movies. In this one, Adam Rourke is the leader of the Hells Angels, and Jack Nicholson's a guy who's trying to join or just hang with the Angels, I guess. I like this a lot. So both Peter Fonda and Dennis Hopper and Jack Nicholson all made biker movies pre-Easy Rider. Nicholson made another one too, which Rebel Rousers, which wasn't even, it was made before Easy Rider, but it wasn't released until after Easy Rider. You can hardly find that one anywhere. Okay. Here's some things that are interesting too. Nicholson, who was a total cultural actor, even though he plays like a kind of a straight Southern lawyer at Easy Rider, I mean, he was, you know, he was definitely of that time, of that era, knew all those people. Here's The Trip, which he wrote, and it's about Peter Fonda taking acid here in LA. It's also got a small part for Dennis Hopper. So you got a Nicholson written film. Roger Corman directed it, I guess, right? Yes. You know, Peter Fonda's the main star, Hopper's in it. This is definitely a pre-Easy Rider movie. If you like, you know, the people that are in Easy Rider. It's one of my favorite countercultural films. I recommend it. Nicholson also was in, well, he was in because he was in Psych Out as an actor. He wasn't in The Trip at all. He just wrote that. Psych Out's another really cool countercultural movie leading up to Easy Rider. You've got Jack in San Francisco as a hippie. You've got Dean Stockwell. You got Bruce Dern, who was in a lot of these movies too. Bruce Dern was in The Wild Angels. This is another one of my favorite hippie type movies. You got the Strawberry Alarm Clock in here. You've got the Seeds. You know, it's just cool to me. Even though, yeah, it's Hollywood's idea of what the hippies were. But I mean, this is as close to, you know, being around at that time and seeing those kinds of kids, those kinds of hippies as you're going to get. I'm going to go back to the BBS box to show you guys Head, which, did I show you this in my Monkeys video? Anyways, I've got Head several times on Blu-ray. So Head, of course, is the Monkeys movie, which Nicholson was in charge of putting the soundtrack together for. If you watch Head, you see Dennis Hopper come in briefly in a scene wearing his Easy Rider garb. Clearly, he was filming it, you know, that day or something. You know, it was Monkeys' money that Bob Rafelson used to come up with the financing for Easy Rider. So I got no problem including Head in a list of films that are on the road to Easy Rider. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I can show you guys, like, The Savage Seven is a Richard Rush movie, which some people say that Easy Rider was just kind of like a Richard Rush biker film, but better. The Savage Seven has the Cream song, Anyone for Tennis on here. It doesn't have a Blu-ray release. This is not that good of a looking DVD, but it's a classic kind of biker film, kind of low budget. Adam Rourke, I think, again, is on this, right? Dwayne Eddy. Iron Butterfly does material on here. Larry Bishop, who later on would do a biker movie in the 21st century. Penny Marshall. Max Julian. Yeah, that's got a great cast. Anyway, I wish this was in a Blu-ray in, you know, widescreen. This is pan and scan. So, and then after Dennis directed Easy Rider, he did the last movie, which is so bizarre to watch this. I don't know if I can really recommend it to you. It's a Western, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. Actually, Peter Fonda, oh, I should have pulled that out, made a better Western called The Hired Hand in '71 that he directed. This is Dennis's direction. And then one last thing that I pulled out, which has nothing to do with Easy Rider, but I mentioned Bruce Dern being in biker movies. Here is Psycho Savages from 1970, filmed here in LA. I like it, but it's, I can't say it's a masterpiece. So that is my video on Steppenwolf and, biker films, which kind of centered around Easy Rider. I'm not going to say that Steppenwolf were a major band from that era. I mean, like what? Next to the Beatles or the Stones or the Doors or the Who? No. But they got a lot of good songs. If they don't have a 5-star album, and not every band that was good did, I could at least probably put together 20 songs that I think are real good on a Steppenwolf compilation. So if getting into their albums isn't your thing and you just want to get a comp, that's fine. But I like them more than that. I like to say, that I have almost the complete discography of every big name 60s or 70s band, so that's why. I mean, that's just the collector in me. Anyways, all right, Matt signing off. Until next time.